Welcome, everyone, to this Hurricane special edition of Sports Shorts Daily presented by LeBear's Casino. Ronnie Rantz alongside Playboy Marty. Sports Shorts Daily presented by LeBear's Casino in Baton Rouge. And LeBear's Casino is open. You can't say the same for LeBear's Lake Charles and all the casinos in that area. Our prayers and best wishes go out to everybody in Southwest Louisiana as we've got a hurricane just barreling in. It's supposed to be maybe category 3 or 4. And, man, we saw what Rita did 15 years ago. We hope that's not the same for Laura. And best wishes to everyone out there. Marty, you're in your own little bubble in Baton Rouge. No Phoenix Suns to cheer for. The NBA playoffs are in full swing. But is this the playoffs? Because I don't recognize it.
I love it. I mean, yeah, it's different, but I still like the games have still been as enjoyable as ever for me. But I mean, I think I know what you're getting at with high scores and the defensive intensity may not be there, but I'm still enjoying the hell out of it personally.
This is like arena football NBA playoffs. You know what I mean? In arena football, the average score is probably about 60 to 53. I mean, as much as I enjoy high-scoring games, and I mean, who doesn't like a high-scoring NFL game? But it's just something about when you get to the playoffs, it cheapens it for me a little bit. It doesn't feel as earned. A 50-47 Saints NFC Championship win to get them in the Super Bowl isn't the same as a 24-21 win. In the sense that I feel like it's tighter. It's supposed to be more defense, no matter the sport. It's supposed to be, possession to possession. We're just not seeing that. We've had another 150-point-plus game. The Clippers absolutely destroyed the Mavericks. It wasn't even close. That's 2 games now in the NBA, one by the Lakers, one by the Clippers, teams have gone over 150 points in a regulation playoff game. That's just unheard of.
Yeah, no, it really is, and but at the same time, we've had a lot of close games, and no matter the score, if the game is close in the last 5 minutes, it is possession by possession. So I still find enjoyment in that, and I think a reason for all of this is, lack of fans. I've said this before, but refs are less afraid to make calls. You're seeing a lot more free throws. And every NBA player that I've heard on a podcast or anything like that since the bubble started talking about it has said, when you watch it on TV, it feels like a regular game, but when you're playing in it, it does not feel like a regular game, even a little bit. And I think a lot of it has to do with it's just guys out there playing basketball. Right. Whereas when you're surrounded by tens of thousands of people, it becomes bigger than just guys playing basketball. So I think there's something to that.
Yeah, and the thing that I don't know that I would like to know, and if I had the chance to talk to a player or somebody, is when we watch the game on TV, and you mentioned this, when we watch it on TV, it looks like the real deal, but in person it doesn't. But when we watch it on TV, let's say it's Clippers at Mavericks, and they've got the court all, dressed up like it's the Mavericks game. A lot of the colors on the LED or Mavericks. They try to give the feel of a home game as best they can, even though there's no fans. But we also get piped in noise, right? We get the noise on the TV. Guy makes a great shot, or especially if it's the home team makes a great shot. You get that reaction from the crowd. I don't know. Are they piping in that noise?
Yeah, they are.
They are
in the arena. Yeah, but JJ Redick said he thinks that because they're playing in the Disney World arena or whatever. His comment was, I don't think they've updated the sound system in the last 20 years because it's very muffled crowd noise.
Yeah, no question it's clearer and better at home, but I was just curious if they even had anything. And if it's too fake, you almost rather have nothing than something that comes across too fake, if you're a player. Yeah. You rather have the overly loud crowd noise like you would in a real arena, or just nothing at all. But that in between is probably even weirder for the players. But one guy who's not dealing with the playoff bubble and everything and not doing well with it is Paul George. And after the Clippers' big win where he played well in Game 5, they go up 3-2 on the Mavericks. at his press conference, he kind of shocked everybody and talked about how he's been struggling with his mental health in the bubble, how he's had depression and anxiety and due to the isolation of being away from everybody, and that is why he played so badly. And he wanted to thank everyone who kind of uplifted him and helped him get right for Game 5. That was a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember ever hearing anything like that from him. Not that people can't suffer in silence, and if that's how he's really felt this whole time, then I'm glad it seems that he's turned a corner a little bit. And I wish him well with all that. Mental health is no joke.
Well, I mean, the thing is that you start throwing out the word mental health, that's going to get the attention of the league. And, Silver, the commissioner's already kind of come out and said that they plan on pushing back the start of the NBA season for 2021. Originally, they talked about maybe starting around December 1st in a few months. Now they're talking about that's probably not realistic. It'll be a little bit later. They didn't say what later is. Most people are sort of guessing Christmas would be a great starting point for the NBA. But, he had also said we have every intention of not doing the bubble again and going back to our home arenas and all that, whether it's fans or not. If you're on the fence or you're not sure, when you hear somebody like George say isolation in the bubble has caused him to have anxiety, mental illness, blah, 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 that almost ties the hands of the NBA, I would think.
A little bit. It definitely puts him in a weird spot. They're going to have to, comment on it at some point, and he'll probably get some Sports Illustrated, feature story or ESPN magazine thing, detailing it. So, I'm sure we'll learn more about this. But something about Paul George I wanted to bring up, which I forgot, and I can't believe I forgot it. So, Doc Rivers' daughter, she and Paul George were in a very serious relationship. He cheated on her with a stripper who he got pregnant and left her. And now she is dating Seth Curry, who plays for the Mavs. So, A, how weird is that Doc Rivers has to coach that guy? And B, aren't you kind of pulling for Seth Curry?
I mean, that is some TMZ stuff right here on Sports Shorts Daily, presented by LeBears. Yeah. I mean, that is wild. I mean, you talk about have to be the ultimate professional and put your personal feelings aside when Doc Rivers, who of course is always going to defend his daughter, has to deal with Paul George. Yeah, I don't think Paul George is calling Doc Rivers to help him with his mental illness.
Yeah, no, I don't either. Well, they traded for him, so I wonder how she felt about that. I don't know. The NBA is a soap opera. Just, I don't know. I love talking about it.
Well, speaking of Doc Rivers, he's been very outspoken. And I feel like NBA is more outspoken than any other professional sports league when it comes to political activism and that sort of thing. I mean, granted, Colin Kaepernick, gets the award for biggest impact, right, for taking a knee 4 years ago, and how that sort of has landscaped and sort of changed the landscape, if you will, of things. But, I feel like before Colin Kaepernick, we would hear some political activism or personal comments on religion or politics on occasion from players or coaches. But ever since, I feel like, everyone's been a lot more outspoken and forthcoming on how they believe, whether they vote Democrat or Republican or just their beliefs in general. People aren't holding back and being politically correct when it comes to politics as much as they did before the Colin Kaepernick knee. Do you agree with that?
I definitely agree with it, and it's actually gone a step further, because so many people are doing it. If someone chooses not to, they're being asked to speak out, in some cases demanded if they're that high profile. So we're in that territory now, and I mean that's just the world we live in now. And in the NBA, they're more visible than in other sports. They don't have a helmet on. You these guys. The 10th guy off the bench for the Charlotte Hornets. Well, I mean, maybe not everybody, but I do. So they're that visible, and people want to hear what you have to say. I don't know.
The only problem with that, I would say, is that, obviously you look at the last presidential election, and basically it was 50-50 in the sense that you got half the country thinks one way and half the country thinks the other way. And that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. That's what makes you the United States of America the greatest country in the world. But if you the old, hey, don't discuss religion and politics, whether it's a first date or whether it's at work or whatever the case may be, because you don't want to cause any sort of discomfort amongst your coworkers or, that sort of thing. That's fine for Doc Rivers to say what he wants, or LeBron or anybody to say what they want. It's also, they have to also be okay with people disagreeing with them. And if we're at the point now where Doc Rivers came out and said, don't vote for Trump. How can you vote for Trump? So if half the country votes for Trump, you got to be accepting of that. And that's the only thing that I worry about, is as people start putting it out there too much, what their own personal opinion is on either whether who to vote for or political beliefs, is that you're setting yourself up for pushback. And and you have to be able to accept that. So it's a slippery slope. We haven't really done it before. It's something that's really come on strong in the last 3-4 years, where we're seeing, but it's also has to be fair across the board. If Drew Brees made a mini slip up and it cost him in a big way, other players say certain things and it doesn't cost them in a big way, that's not fair. It has to be fair for both sides. We have to be able, whether we agree with it or not, people have to be able to say their piece and it go on. It can't just be for half of the players or half of the coaches. So it's going to be interesting to see. Of course, we're in a crazy time, and it's going to get even crazier up till November. Other NBA news: Giannis picks up the award for Defensive Player of the Year. Milwaukee Bucks continue to roll up in their series. There's some people that didn't agree with that pick. I'm surprised.
A lot of people felt like Anthony Davis really got snubbed, and their main point is statistically based, because he had, I think he had 30 more steals and 70 more blocks, or it could have been the other way around, something like that. He just in those two stats, he clearly beat Giannis out. But Defensive Player of the Year is, I think, by far the most subjective, or I always forget which word to say, award, because you're basically, there's so much that goes into who's the best defensive player. That's not statistically based. Who affects shots the most. And there's advanced stats that help you with it. And I hope that, the people voting on it look at that. But it's not an award that I'm ever going to get mad about, because, if you're going to sit here and be annoyed that Giannis won an award for being awesome at defense, no. He just is. I think if you're going to get mad about something about defense, I would say all defensive team snubs would be better, because that's a whole team. And if you're left out of a whole team, I could understand that more than you didn't give him the top award. That's kind of my thought on it.
I think with AD, the only thing there is, he's got, it's like Batman and Robin, he's got LeBron James next to him, who's considered a fantastic defensive player as well. And I think maybe there could be the perception that AD gets more help than Giannis, right? And whether that's fair or true, I think perception sometimes is reality, and there may be that. Plus, Giannis is the kind of the up and coming guy. He's the upcoming star, and there's probably a lot. I agree with you that with this award, how much do teams game plan around avoiding him or trying to take him out of the picture for defending a shot? There's so much that goes into it rather than just blocks and steals. I agree with that.
Yeah, no, and a big factor of it is Giannis is likable and Anthony Davis is famously not likable. And that matters. That matters because the media votes on it. There was that year where Ted Williams won the Triple Crown and he finished 5th in MVP voting because everyone hated him.
Well, all you got to do is ask Shreveport's own Albert Bell about that. Formerly Joey Bell, who changed his name to Albert Bell, one of the best hitters of the 90s, and definitely should have won one MVP award in the American League when he was with the Indians in the mid-90s, if not two. But you talk about a guy who was not liked in any way, shape, or
Right.
form
Yeah.
by the media, and because of that, probably won't ever get in the Hall of Fame as well. Not that he deserves to; he deserves to be in the discussion, but would never get into the Pro Baseball Hall of Fame because he just wasn't liked in the locker room. And so we're seeing that a little bit with AD. Although I thought when AD was with the Pelicans, even though he doesn't have a big outgoing personality, I thought when he was with the Pels, he was a likable character.
I mean, he was. I mean, he wasn't as he hadn't fully crossed over to being unlikable, but I don't think anyone was like, "Oh, Anthony Davis, such a great guy, nice guy," and he never really bought into like the NOLA culture at all, like in the way Zion already has, and like Brandon Ingram already kind of has. Like it never seemed like he really cared about being in New Orleans to me.
He's Playboy Marty. I'm Ronnie Rantz. Make sure you click, like, subscribe to our YouTube page, Sports Shorts, hosted by Ronnie Rantz, presented by Ronnie Rantz, or whatever the case may be, hosted by Ronnie Rantz. Go like and subscribe. Tell people, post this each and every Monday through Friday, about a 15-minute video to get your day going. And we hope all in Louisiana and along the Gulf Coast are safe and do well. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Hunker down and have a great one, Marty. Take care.